A fisherman, stranded on a remote island after a violent storm, discovers a mysterious mermaid who saves his life, leading to an unexpected bond and a series of life-altering events. The sky was a canvas of dark, tumultuous clouds, churning with the ferocity of an impending storm. The wind howled, carrying the salty scent of the ocean and the promise of chaos. A lone fisherman, rugged, fought against the mounting waves in his small, weather-beaten boat. His hands, calloused from years of labor, gripped the wooden oars with desperation, his muscles straining with every pull. The ocean roared in defiance, each wave more colossal than the last, threatening to swallow him whole. His heart pounded in his chest as he tried to navigate the angry sea. But the waves were relentless, and his boat, no match for their might, capsized. In the chaos, his head struck a paddle, and a sharp pain exploded in his temple. The world turned upside down as he was thrown into the icy embrace of the water. Darkness descended, and he slipped into unconsciousness, sinking beneath the waves, his body limp and helpless. Through the murky depths, a shimmering figure approached. A mermaid, her scales glistening with an ethereal light, moved with grace and urgency, her concerned eyes fixed on the fisherman. She reached out, her delicate hand closing around his wrist, and began to pull him toward the surface. The fisherman awoke to the warmth of the sun on his face and the gentle sound of waves lapping at the shore. Blinking against the brightness, he realized he was lying on a beach, the storm now a distant memory. The sky was clear, and the air was a heady mix of salt and tropical flowers. He tried to sit up, but a sharp pain in his leg made him wince. Looking down, he saw that his leg was badly injured, the skin torn and bruised. Gritting his teeth, he scanned his surroundings. The island was remote and unfamiliar, far from the comforts of home. Tall palm trees swayed in the breeze, and the lush greenery hinted at a dense jungle beyond. He was alone, stranded on this isolated shore. As he surveyed the area, he noticed a figure peeking out from behind a rock in the shallow water. He called out, his voice hoarse. But the figure vanished beneath the waves. His heart raced as he realized who or what had saved him, a mermaid. He had heard tales of such creatures, but he had never believed them to be true. Now he had seen her with his own eyes, and the reality of his situation began to sink in. As night fell, the fisherman found shelter under a towering coconut tree. His stomach growled with hunger, and his throat was parched. Suddenly, a faint smell of smoke reached his nose. Following the scent, he stumbled upon a small fire pit on the other side of the island. There, a freshly cooked fish and an opened coconut awaited him. He glanced around and saw the mermaid, her eyes peering at him from behind the rocks. She swam away before he could speak, but he shouted his gratitude into the darkness. He devoured the meal, the taste of the fish rich and satisfying, the coconut water sweet and refreshing. That night, he slept soundly, his body replenished by the unexpected kindness of his mysterious savior. The next morning, the fisherman awoke to find the mermaid beside him. She was tending to his wounds, her delicate fingers carefully applying her shimmering scales to his injured leg. He watched in amazement as his wounds began to heal, the pain dissipating as if by magic. He called out his thanks, his voice filled with wonder and gratitude. Days passed, and the fisherman adapted to his new life on the island. He built a small cottage near the shore, crafting a home from the materials around him. He often felt the mermaid's presence, watching him from the water, a silent guardian. One afternoon, he ventured to a waterfall to bathe. The cool water cascaded over his body, washing away the grime and fatigue. He plunged deep into the clear pool, diving without a thought. But something went wrong. His limbs felt heavy, and panic set in as he struggled to rise. The mermaid, sensing his distress, darted into the water and pulled him to safety. On the shore, she pressed her lips to his, trying to resuscitate him, tears streaming down her cheeks. When he finally stirred, he wrapped his arms around her, their lips meeting in a tender kiss. She pulled away, realizing he had been conscious all along, a playful glint in his eyes. Their gaze locked, a silent understanding passing between them. He leaned in for another kiss, and this time she didn't resist. Their bond deepened, their connection undeniable. That night, in their modest cottage, they lay together, the fisherman holding the mermaid close. She rested her head on his chest, feeling his heartbeat, a comforting rhythm that lulled her to sleep. She had found love in the most unexpected place, and for the first time she felt truly at peace. But peace is often fleeting. The mermaid awoke in the middle of the night, a searing pain tearing through her. She looked down to find her tail severed, blood pooling around her. She screamed, the agony unbearable. In the dim light, she saw the fisherman on a makeshift raft, her severed tail in tow. Betrayal and heartbreak filled her eyes as she watched him disappear into the distance. She tried to crawl after him, but the blood loss was too great. She collapsed on the shore, her life slipping away. The fisherman returned to his village, relieved to be home. He cut the mermaid's tail into pieces, cooking it into a stew. He carried the steaming bowl to his ailing wife, helping her sit up to eat. As she took a bite, color returned to her cheeks, and her eyes sparkled with new life. She looked in the mirror, astonished at her transformation. The fisherman watched with satisfaction, knowing he had saved her. One evening, the fisherman came home, 2 large fish in hand. As he approached his house, he saw blood seeping under the door. Panic gripped him as he pushed it open. Inside, he found his wife's bones picked clean, her flesh devoured. The mermaid stood over the remains, her once beautiful face twisted with rage, her eyes burning with vengeance. She licked her lips with a long, serpentine tongue. The fisherman dropped his catch, his heart pounding in his chest. The mermaid's gaze locked onto him, her fury palpable. Her tail grew back longer, more menacing, and she advanced on him. He screamed, the sound echoing through the night.